You are listening to Ideas and Leaders podcast. I'm Elena Paweta, Executive Communication Coach and TEDx organizer. With each episode, I'll share with you communication tips and ideas from top business leaders to help you excel in your career. Welcome to the next episode of Ideas and Leaders podcast. Today, my guest is Burcu Onaranel Erten, and she's an international motivational speaker and the founder of JOYY Limited company. And she specializes in digital marketing consulting. She's assisting entrepreneurs in creating their authentic brand. And this is what we're going to speak about today. We're going to speak about building your authentic brand. Hi, Burcu. It's great to have you on Ideas and Leaders.
Hi, Elena. Great to be here.
So, Burcu, I know that you are assisting entrepreneurs. You're helping entrepreneurs with building their brands. And for our listeners, for those who are listening to us and thinking of building or boosting their personal brands, so what should we start doing? What are those foundational steps that we need to undertake to start building our authentic personal brand?
Of course, it starts with you. That's what I always talk about. There is a great quote, probably most of your listeners know. I will say it, and there's something missing in it, and that is where we are coming to create authentic branding. Poet Maya Angelou has said, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. A great quote, and I love it, embody it, and there is a crucial thing missing in it, and that is you part. How people say, but first coffee, and what I say to my clients, but first you. To be able to create your authentic brand, you need to tap into your feelings first before making an impression on other people's feelings. You need to feel good about yourself and your brand because you are your brand. Then you will express yourself in a way that is authentic to you. So it always starts with alignment. A, the code of authentic branding, A stands for alignment. You need to feel good. So put yourself first to start with.
Okay, so we need to start thinking about ourselves to be in alignment with who we are. So what would you recommend for us to do that? Is there any, exercise, or how can we start understanding who we are? Because very often we are defining ourselves by the companies that we work for or products that we sell. And it is really hard question. If you ask me now, who are you? I don't think I would be able to answer right away. The same probably for our listeners. So what we can do to define it?
Yes, it's a very deep question. It sounds simple. Who are you? You might say, I'm Elena, I'm Burcu. But that's not it. There's a deeper reason, and it goes to the why. That's why in my company name, it's JOYY with 2 Y's. And the second Y stands for the why. So there's a reason why there's additional Y in there to remind myself and the people I work with, whatever you do, whomever you are, you have a reason first to exist in this world as a spirit. And second, in your career, in your business life, you are doing everything with the core of your why. And how to find it, that's how it starts with you. You need to know what brings you joy, what is your specialty, what you do to make yourself differentiate from others, your energy. Those are all in the code of authentic branding. So energy is in it, your why is in it. You can find your why basically thinking why you do what you do. You can start asking like yourself right now, Elena, you can ask yourself, why am I recording this episode? It's not just to chit chat. You have a deeper why. You want to make an impact on leaders' life and your audience life. And my why is to share the inspiration, the knowledge that I've gained over the past 10 years working with over 50 entrepreneurs all around the world. I counted the other day, there were 15 different countries that I worked with. So I learned a lot of why we do what we do and how it is such an impactful way to create your authentic brand. So to your audience, whoever listening us or watching us, you can simply ask yourself, in any cases, in anything you do, why am I here right now? You are either supporting yourself, your family, your coworkers. There is a deeper why you do every single day. And if you're an entrepreneur, speaker, or coach, your reason is already very special because you are doing something unique. You want to stand out. That's why you want to have an authentic brand. And it always goes to your why. When your why is strong enough, whatever that is, to make an impact, help people, create more awareness on whatever you speak about or coach about, and then you have this drive or fuel in your tank to wake up every day.
Yeah. So we need to find this why. And I think that now, as I was at Mind Valley University just before we were recording this episode, and we just chatted before the recording about it, there were a couple of people who are billionaires, who are founders of really big companies. And I really like that they always shared that you need to have this passion for your work, but not only passion, but obsession. And it means that you would do it anyway, if you earn money or if you don't earn money. And I think that this is what we're speaking about. Find this why that is beyond money. If you are just here to earn money, then is it even worth it? We see so many people leaving the corporate world to pursue being a coach or to pursue completely changing what they do. And I think that this why it really is important to find it and to understand it for ourselves. Then we will be able to convey our brand with so much more power. So we start with why, and we have our differentiators, certain things, stories, things that made us who we are. And what would be the next step? So how can we start defining our brand further?
You mentioned it already, storytelling. So it is in the letter of H in the authentic word. So H stands for harmony, and it is storytelling. What I found over the years, most entrepreneurs and speakers tend to not share their stories. Not the success stories. They love to share success stories, but they don't like to share their failures or when they were not making money, when they were struggling, because they don't want to remember or whatever the reason that they have. But what's important is to share all those times. So you can start sharing your true story, your authentic story. You already have everybody. You don't have to be an entrepreneur or speaker. Everybody has a story to tell. Everybody goes through so many life obstacles, hard times, and then they overcome, and there is a story around it. You have stories every single day. So know your story when you become an entrepreneur, speaker, coach, or whomever you are right now, creating your authentic brand. You have a story, and share your failures as well as your success. Failure, and then you're a flower, maybe right now you're blooming, but you need to share all the things genuinely. That's why it says authentic brand. I don't say special brand or impactful brand. I say it authentic because authentic has this deeper meaning of there is a genuine energy in it. There's no fake. It's not coming from ChatGPT. It's coming from you. So you have your own authentic story to make an impact on other people's lives. So you can just start sharing your stories in a way that speak to your audience. Another thing that I want to share here is about how you use your language. So for example, if you're creating your authentic brand on your digital platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever you're posting or writing articles, always use you language. always speak to one person in front of a screen or in front of a, whatever you're doing in an article, who's reading, who's watching, speak to one person and always put yourself in their shoes. Even if you're telling your story, start with, have you ever thought this way? Or have you ever felt this way? I felt it. And then tell your story and then share more how you are helping the person who is reading that. Because when you start saying, I've done it, or I had this hard time, people read it, but then at the end, in a couple of stories or posts, they stop reading because they don't like to read somebody talking about themselves all the time. You might want to speak to the person who is watching you or listening to you.
Yes, absolutely. It's such a great tip to use you language to speak about your target audience. It is also very important to understand who is your target audience, because as a brand, you will not please everyone and you will not speak to everyone. And unfortunately, this is a mistake that I see very often, that people that start doing their business activities online, they are kind of very careful. They try to please everyone, but it is very important to speak to a particular person with particular issue or problem that you can solve, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and also you mentioned the storytelling. I wanted to ask you, so what is the right balance of personal and professional, of storytelling and actually selling and promoting your products and services? I think that this is the question that many people who are communicating their brand online, they are wondering how much is too much to share, personal behind the stage, kids and family and stories and failures, and how much to actually sell, promote, and show what you're doing.
So the number one key point of selling is not selling. So try to post without having the purpose of selling. Because when you're not selling, that's when you're actually selling. Because you're putting your genuine self out there with your own story and expertise, what you've learned, what you've achieved, and what you went through. That's how people connect. In these days, mostly for the past few years, with the coronavirus, I think people want to have this genuine connection more, because that's with the pandemic, that's when we all felt very lonely and lost, what we were going to do, what's going to happen, like whom to connect with. So put yourself in your own true self, or your own genuine energy, warm energy. And it depends how much is too much or not, depending your audience. If you are a coach or a leader in corporate world, maybe in corporate world, it is not super necessary to share more deeper personal stories. Maybe you can mention a couple of things and lead to more corporate reasons. But if you're a sole entrepreneur or somebody who is a speaker and having her own business, his own business, that's probably is better to share more of your personal lifestyle to make an impact, because you are mostly speaking to people who are also entrepreneur, speaker, coach, or who want to be one. So you can create that relationship with them. You are talking with one-to-one. But when you're talking with one-to corporates, then you might want to craft your storytelling in a more corporate way.
Yeah, I just noticed that when I speak about my problems online, and people start to react and help me and engage in my content. And when I just say, okay, I'm having this retreat in France, join us, and people are like, great, couple of likes, it looks amazing, and that's it. And then I'm sharing that, I know recently I shared, for example, that we're looking for Taylor Swift tickets with my daughters because they're huge Swifties, and we have Taylor Swift in Warsaw in a couple of weeks. And people started writing to me and, oh, hey, I know this person, and you know that there is this platform where you can check. And they actually started to respond and to react. Or, for example, a couple of months ago, I had an issue with my computer and all my data disappeared, and literally no one could take all of my research papers and online courses and podcast recordings like this one. Everything disappeared. So for me it was a disaster. I didn't know what to do with my whole life. My whole business disappeared. And I posted about it, and I had so many comments that I don't think that I had so many comments before for any of my business posts. And people started responding, commenting. People from the United States looked for data companies that can restore data in Europe, and they would send me the links because they wanted to help. So it was, for me, I think it was a great example of being vulnerable online, of sharing your problems, your issues, of not being Miss Perfect online and that, oh, I'm always, in my full makeup and I'm always smiling and happy and on stage, but actually sharing your life. I see that people responded. So it is amazing. But I think that still we need to balance it. We need to balance. So what would you recommend to our listeners? What are some of the tips in how can we leverage social media when we're sharing our stories, when we're sharing our products and services? How can we do it in the most effective way?
I always recommend sharing one personal and one professional post per week. You don't have to post like 30 times a day or 10 times a day, and people get overwhelmed. And just post something that is very, very thoughtful and impactful. And to share your professionalism, you can always, like, even if you're Miss Perfect, you can still attach to it to your old version. Like, I was this person years ago and I wanted to speak on stages. Now I'm a TEDx speaker or organizer. Now I'm doing all those things, but I didn't born this way. I learned, I did this. That is impactful rather than just sharing, I'm speaking there, I'm amazing. So you can always create the balance while you share where you come from and what you do today. And it's always great to remind your audience from time to time. Maybe like in a couple of months, you can write, if you don't know me, I have new followers or whatever. You can reintroduce yourself. That is also a great way to connect with your new followers, or also remind yourself to your old followers. Sometimes years passed and you gain more expertise, or you spoke more, you have just more things happening in your life. Always share. And I just did a post the other day about failure. I wrote 3 failures that I had in my life, the big ones. And then I shared after what I am doing today. So it's just being real is the key. And you will find your own way because everybody has their own audience. So you will just play with your audience. That's always what I do with my clients and what I do with my own audience. You will see, like you mentioned, Elena, like, oh, people responded to this more. So how can you find those people? How can you draw those people to your professional posts? How can you connect with your personal and professional life? You will find the balance. And the more you do personal stuff, the more they start searching or looking for your professional posts as well. And sometimes people just miss it. So it's always great to tag people or send a personal message to them. Maybe you may have missed this, but I'm speaking at this event. It's very important for me. Could you spend a few seconds to register or, post about it? People look for these connections, personal connections. They all see what you're doing, but they want to be seen as well. They want to be acknowledged as your followers, as your friends. So take more time to send them private messages to gain more impression on your posts.
Yeah, private messages, I think it is a good strategy. Although now I see that there are a lot of automated private messages, and this is something that I don't like. But what you mentioned is really good. If someone is writing to me personally and reacting to what happened, where we met, or asking some additional questions. But those automatic messages trend is something that I don't like. And I had several offers of people to helping me with this, but I don't know. What do you think about those automations?
I don't use it, and I don't recommend using it because I personally delete or not connect with those people because you understand that it is automatic.
Yeah.
And that's what I am talking about. Like, you need to be authentic. Even if you reach only 10 people, not thousands of people, just think about those 10 people turn into your audience, like real audience, real followers, real fan, and then can turn into maybe 5 of them or all of them turn into your clients. I have a client the other day, we were having this branding coaching call, and he asked me, I only have 400 followers on my Instagram. How it's going to grow, how it's going to, how am I going to make money? And I said, think about all of them are real and can turn into your clients. Like, can you handle 400? And he's like, whoa, I cannot handle 400 clients. And I'm like, think about this way. So build a real relationship with so many people, not everyone. Like you mentioned, we are not for everyone, and you can't have everyone. Even if you have all those attentions, you don't have time to deal with all. I had those times in my first year of entrepreneur. I had so many clients and I couldn't handle all of them. I'm like, oh my God, I need to know how much I can do and how much, like, what is my limit. So always know your limit. But coming back to the automatic messages, I don't recommend, and it can mess up with your algorithms as well. And when people recognize that you're using that, and let's say one person report you, a couple of people report you, and then you might have lost your account. So many things can happen in the digital platform. So you really want to make sure what you're doing and why you're doing. Like, do you really need those automatic messages? Like, what is your goal? That's why I always go back to your why. Why are you doing that? What do you need? Do you need followers, or do you need one more client? Like, what is the core goal? Then move another goal. And I also don't recommend to buy followers. Do not buy any followers. Don't mess up with your algorithms. Always spend more time and have more real people.
Yeah, so buying followers, automatic messages, and also I would say using ChatGPT, I would add to this list, is something that is completely not authentic. And I see so many people using fake ChatGPT descriptions. Of course, it is amazing that you can create a post in 1 second or 10 posts. You can create 20 post ideas for me. And then ChatGPT would go with 20 fake sounding texts. But then when I see people posting it, I immediately, of course, understand that it was not this person who was writing it. Then I don't feel this authenticity, and I don't know if it's a good strategy. So how do you work with your clients with artificial intelligence? Does it help, or does it ruin our personal brands?
Sometimes I use, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't use completely what it's giving to me. So what I do, like, I brainstorm with the AI and find out ideas. I never used the exact text because there's always something that doesn't match with me or with my clients. So I always ask and play with the text it's giving me. If it's let's say a social media post, and I read it, I spend a little bit more time when I use GPT. So compared to reducing my level of, but sometimes it gives you great ideas or great word recommendations. So you might want to look and then change it into your own words. Like, you can change the words, that is yourself again, and still use the ideas. I think it needs to be in our life in this century. Like, we can ask great ideas, and then still can craft it from our own voice. Because like you said, people understand. If you have been posting around and writing stuff, then when you use the AI format 100%, people immediately react to it. And there are places that people can check if it's written by AI or not. So imagine if they are checking that way, then you will lose your whole brand reputation. And I just don't recommend it.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. And I just wanted to mention that recently I read a book by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it was a book written in his voice. So probably he had some angel writers who helped him with this book. But you could see when I read it, I heard his accent, I heard his manner of speaking, because he's not a native English speaker. And he speaks in a particular way. He uses particular phrases. His sentences are very short. And imagine if he just said, okay, ChatGPT, write a chapter for me. It would be completely something different. So I think that we need to use the same in our social media profiles, to write things in our language. Generating ideas is a great idea, to use artificial intelligence to generate some ideas about what we could do the posts about or reels about. But I think that adding authenticity is definitely the key. So Burcu, let's sum up our conversation. And what would be your top recommendations to our listeners on building their personal brands, their authentic personal brands, and communicating their personal brands online?
Going back to the first letter of authentic, A, always align with yourself. Always put yourself first when you do something, when you start your day. Always honor your feelings, because they are the essence of your authenticity, the core of who you are. So embody your feelings, and they hold the power to transform your life, your brand, and the world around you. So always tap into your feelings, always remember and know your why. Make sure you do everything with your why. That's what I would recommend. And also, again, using you language on your social posts is the key to connect with your audience.
Perfect. I will definitely write a couple of my next posts in you language consciously now. So thank you for this tip. So Burcu, if our listeners want to reach out to you, to contact you, where can we find you online?
I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn mostly. Those are my two platforms. My Instagram handle is JOYYBURCU. And on LinkedIn is my name and last name, Burcu Onaranel Erten. And you can email me at burcu@joyyburcu.com if you want to dig into your branding, create authentic branding. I want to offer a free discovery call where I go through your social media, give you some audits, some recommendations, and create a roadmap with you, and to see if we can co-create your success together. So that will be my freebie to your audience.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this generous offer. So we will put the links to your pages under the episode in the show notes, so that our listeners can immediately jump there and connect with you. Thank you so much, Burcu, for speaking on Ideas and Leaders. It was such a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you for having me, Elena. It was great chatting with you and everyone who's listening us.
Thank you for listening to Ideas and Leaders podcast. Did you enjoy this episode? Let me know that you listened by tagging me in your LinkedIn profile and using a hashtag Ideas and Leaders. See you in the next episode.